engineering, technology, rural communities, international institutions, a bridge builder in Courant Alternatif. Welcome, Joseph and Nguthiru.
Thank you so much for having me. Thank you so much.
How are you, man?
Honestly, happy, grateful, excited. The year is coming to an end, and I'm so much looking forward to next year.
Great. So you are in direct from Nairobi, Kenya, right?
Uh, Currently, I'm in Mombasa in Kenya, a very
Oh,
beautiful
okay.
coastal city. Yes, yes, yes. We are having some engineering conference, and that's why I had to come over to Mombasa. Yeah, but I live
Okay,
in Nairobi.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, let's entering directly into the topic. You did wonderful things, Joseph. But for those who are discovering you today, how would you introduce yourself in just a few words?
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Joseph Nguthiru. As mentioned previously, I'm from Kenya, and I run. I'm the UN Young Champion of the Earth. I run a startup called HyaPak. At HyaPak, we manufacture biodegradable packaging materials that are made out of water hyacinth, and the goal basically is to replace single-use plastics with something that's more sustainable. And I also run M-Situ, which is also another startup where we're using AI as an early warning system to detect deforestation, wildfires, and charcoal burning. I'm also a member of the Obama Foundation, where we started something called Afroclimate. It's a nonprofit that empowers African entrepreneurs that are working in the climate space. And in addition to all that, I am a brother, I am a son, and I am a big time a believer that the future is a big, promising, beautiful place to be in.
Amazing. So you are an engineer, an inventor, a climate tech entrepreneur, and also,
Yes.
as you said, an Obama Foundation leader. Actually, do
Yes.
you think like you are living multiple lives at once, or finally, all symbolizes just a very coherent mission?
um, I think we are all of us, you included, and whoever is listening to this, we are all parts of different. We all made up by different things that bring us to who we are, right? And if you go to what's it's being said previously that no experience in life is ever wasted, and nothing that happens in life just happens out of chance, and everything you are the sum total of everything that happens to you. So the schools you went to, the people you know, the work you've done, the experiences. So when it comes to myself, I think it's because of being in all these multiple avenues, because I'm an engineer, that uh, we happened to stumble on HyaPak, and it's because I was part of the Obama Foundation that also M-Situ was born, and much and a bit at the same time Afroclimate came to be, and it all serves like a higher purpose where you are called to do an impact to your generation, which in this case, the biggest challenges of our lifetime are going to be climate change and AI and so on. And if we can do something about it, then that's what we need to do.
So yes, clearly a steps on your side generates another one.
Hmm. Yes, exactly.
Um, let's start with the beginning of your journey, where you changed something significantly. How did your interest in engineering and environmental innovation first emerge? Was there a defining moment?
Uh, Thank you. Good question. So when I went to school to do engineering, I I didn't exactly think or had this idea of what's going to happen in engineering. You don't go to school and have a playbook that's given to you. Do this and this and this and then this will happen. That doesn't happen. So I went to engineering, did civil engineering, specialized in water and environmental engineering. And then we were on this class trip to a lake in Kenya called Lake Naivasha, and somehow our boat got stuck in the lake because of a weed called water hyacinth. If you are listening and this is the first time you're listening about water hyacinth, water hyacinth is the world's most invasive aquatic plant. It grows on top of water bodies in more than 70 countries around the world, mostly in the global south. So it grows on top of water bodies, and then it blocks air and oxygen from getting underneath, and this kills fish, makes it hard for boats and other transportation to pass over the water. It's hard to do irrigation, water treatment, hydroelectric power production, basically anything that you could do with freshwater bodies. So our boat got stuck in this weed, the water hyacinth. And yeah, we decided to do something about it for my final year. And this was to convert it into something, just something. And then we posted about it on Twitter after we had done the project in the university. And then it got seen by the right people in the right places. And I went over to do an internship at L'Oreal. But then this project that we had posted online blew up. And then so I had to leave my internship, my job, and come and start figuring out everything about startups. And that's how HyaPak was born, from the words hyacinth and packaging. Yeah.
So HyaPak was born thanks to this event. What fascinated you about turning a problem into a solution?
Yeah. So generally in life, we have this notion that people like complaining a lot. And you have very few people who are open to actually doing something about different scenarios. And when you look at something that is an invasive plant, such as water hyacinth, there are two ways to look at it, right? You can look at it as a problem, which is a problem, yes, but you can also look at it as a resource. It's a whole real estate that can be used to do something. You can make uh, clean cooking briquettes from that. You can make biogas. You can make animal feed, and now we are working in to make packaging material to replace plastics. And this just goes to show you that how nature does not create anything that is useless. Something can be used out of everything that is in nature. And that's one way to look at it. And then the other thing is that, of course, I'm African, and I come from Kenya, which is Africa. And we have lots of problems. And the biggest problem we have is usually in our economies. Our economies are mostly reliant on importing things from other countries into Africa, and then this means that at the end of every financial year, our economies are on the negatives. And if we can make something that can try and help us be self-reliant and help us create employment opportunities for young people who do not have employment opportunities, and then if we can make that as a playbook that can then be copy pasted to other countries as well, then that's the whole goal of growing the growing the countries, and also growing other places as well. So, and that's why we're doing this.
So, very important thing to mention is that this aquatic weed is very problematic. It affects more than 70 countries, according to some research made.
Yes, according to the UN.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, and so it generates, as you said, problems for fishing, navigation, irrigation, plus the
mm.
economic struggle. So, how did you manage it from a technical standpoint once you realized that it was a potential resources and that removing it from the lake in question would be super relevant? But how did you manage it technically?
So technically, I'll mention a bit of how we do it. Is that we work together with these affected communities. So they harvest the plants, the weeds, the hyacinth, then they dry it on site. After drying it, it's then packaged in sacks, and the sacks are then transported all of the way to Nairobi, which is like 100 kilometers away from the lake. And after they're brought over to our facilities, we then do like a whole chemical process of extracting cellulose out of it, adding proprietary binders and additives, and doing like a whole chemical conversion, and making things that look like plastics, feel like plastics, and even perform just like regular plastics, but they're going to decompose. And the reason why we are playing into this, and the reason why we are doing this, is that my country, Kenya, banned the use of single-use plastic bags about 7 years ago. So we were the first country in the world to implement a ban on plastics. And soon after, other countries started following, and the whole world is now agreeing that we need to stop uh, relying on plastics and we need to do something about it. But the thing is, the question is, okay, it's fine. You've done away with plastics. That's good for the environment. But then what do you replace it with? what do you give consumers, what do you give packaging solutions, what else can people use? That's one. And number two, it's the economics. There are countries in the world that rely on fossil fuels for their economies to grow, and that's their key GDP driver. So you have the environment on one side, which you've solved it, but then you create other gaps on the economic side and also on the solution side. And so we are trying to play on the solution side, and we are like, if we can make something that functions as regular plastics, then let's do it. And that's how we've been able to do what we're doing.
So nice. And so today, HyaPak concretely, so you invented for, we can say upcycling. Is it a relevant word or no?
Not
It's
really,
more
but
transformation.
kinda. Yeah. Transformation makes it,
Okay.
yeah.
So for the transformation of the water hyacinth, so you are able right now to create biodegradable plastic bags.
Mm-hmm.
They are 100% biodegradable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yes,
crazy.
that's the whole point. Because if it's not biodegradable, then you've not actually solved the problem.
Yeah, sure. And
Yeah.
also, I remember the first time we met, you showed me like also little packagings, like boxes
Yes.
for improving the storage of
Yes.
fruits, for instance, on the market. So
Oh my
this is
God, you have such a
something
good
also
memory.
derivated from
Yes.
HyaPak. Yeah.
Yeah, you have such a good memory. Yeah, so our products currently are those kind of packaging bags that can be used as shopping bags and so on. And also, we are starting to create a new product value chain. So our current products are used mostly in agriculture, courier packaging, and courier services for shipping parcels and so on to replace the regular plastics. And also, we are working now into food packaging. And the idea is we have these cartons that have our linings inside. And our products, the linings that we make, act as insulation to keep the food fresh produce in in this instance for like things like tomatoes, oranges, potatoes, and other things that you'll normally transfer in these cartons or boxes. And we need to keep them fresh for a couple of days without them going bad until they're sold from farm to market. That's what we are trying to play in, because the thing is, about a third of the food produced worldwide is wasted, and most of this food wastage happens through transit, and because food does not get to shelves properly and it goes bad real quick. So we're trying to see if we can do something about that as well, and we're doing that. And also now we recently also started working on flower packaging, and Kenya being a big exporter of flowers, and flowers also being a big market for packaging, that's also something that we're also now trying to play into. And yeah, slowly over time, we're going to get to other adjacent markets.
This is a wonderful initiative. Frankly, congratulations, because you embody the
Merci.
possibility to transform something um, into gold.
Merci
And
beaucoup.
one question about the presence of HyaPak. So today, I assume you operate in Kenya. Is
Mm.
there another country or other countries benefiting from your solution?
Yes, so we, exactly as you rightly stated, we are currently located in Kenya, but we've also started activities and partnerships in other countries, mostly Mexico, El Salvador, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, India, Nigeria, and Tanzania. Um, where also these countries also have a lot of hyacinth, and we feel like we could help them with our solution. And now the thing that we're now trying to work on is uh, the formulation behind it. So whether we're going to do franchising models with all of them, licensing models, whether we're going to open source our whole patents and have other people in all these countries use them. And that's what you're trying to work on and figure out at the
I
moment,
hope it's
because each
coming to
country
Europe
has.
soon.
Yes, we actually export currently to Germany, and we
Okay.
are, yeah, and we are also having some partnership that we're thinking of, same processes in Spain, but we are yet to get to Spain. Yeah.
Okay, Courant Alternatif will make it happen in France. We will do the
Yes, fingers
bridge.
crossed. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much.
How much people do you employ in your company today?
So currently we have slightly over 45 staff working for
Okay.
us. Mostly these are community members who are regularly affected by this plant, the water hyacinth, and this is creating some alternative source of income for them. And yeah,
Yeah, we will talk about later about the role of community, which is very important for you as part of the
yes,
innovative
yes.
mindset.
Mm.
And yeah, maybe to finish about HyaPak, yeah, two questions. Firstly, in terms of metrics, are you able, or is it interesting for you? I don't know to measure the hyacinth, the water hyacinth you have removed so far.
Yeah. So far we've done close to 20 or more tons of dried hyacinth.
Wow. Okay.
We've yeah, we've eliminated over 8 hectares of it from Lake Naivasha in Kenya. Next year, we hope to also move to another lake called Lake Victoria, that is also in Kenya and Uganda and Tanzania at the border, and we hope to do something there as well.
Okay. And emotionally, the first time you saw the outcome of HyaPak, how did you feel?
Happy, of course. I didn't think that we were making something big. I didn't ever foresee myself being in a French podcast thing, talking about it someday. No, we didn't. We didn't think of the potential behind it, but we thought, this is cool, this is awesome. But then life had bigger plans for us. So we still think of ourselves as a small project that is still going to grow because we have plastics every day. Where you are currently seated, you have something on plastic around you, and that still shows that there's huge journey to go ahead, and we still have more impact to create in this world.
Okay. Joseph, you choose to pursue entrepreneurship at young age. How old are you?
27.
27.
Mm.
And was that a risk for you or something obvious when you look back?
Not obvious, not obvious. Big risk,
Why?
big risk.
Okay.
I
Why
left
a risk?
engineering. I,
Yeah.
I left engineering to come and start a business. Um, So you have to figure out how to pay taxes, how to hire, how to fire people, how to create a pitch deck, how to talk to investors, how to convince them to give you money, how to create a website, how to have branding, how to create all the papers legal necessary for a company, a patent, all those kind of stuff, how to have the best people working in your team and what roles to give them, how to do accounting and all that. We had to figure that out from everything. I learned calculus in school, how to do algebra and such kind of things, and this does not apply when running a business, and that's why it was not a walk in the park. Still isn't. And anyone who tells you that starting a business is simple, they're lying to you.
And business and management were not integrating your engineering journey at school?
They were, of course, yes, but it's like you are taught small stuff, and then you realize
Okay.
that it's a whole thing altogether, and you don't. I don't think we were prepared for this. You're not prepared for all this. Yeah.
So I assume that, like other guests we received in Courant Alternatif, you believe in the multidisciplinarity.
Yes. Yes. And especially now that I think AI has come in, multidisciplinary in any field whatsoever. Healthcare, climate, business, anything that you can do. I strongly believe in being multidisciplinary and being able to do a couple of things at the same time, because the thing is, we've learned that AI models can be used to do whatever work you're already doing, and the only way you stand out, whether you want to get employed or whether you want to start your own employment stuff, is you have to be in a position where you can do several things at the same time, or else if you're only like good at one thing and then AI is taught to be good at that, then you're rendered useless. So it is highly important in 2025 going forward to be multidisciplinary.
Okay. Thank you. You have also other projects like M-Situ and
Mm.
Afroclimate that
Yes.
empower communities and give a voice to those often left out of global climate conversations. Can
Yes.
you present it to us?
Yeah. So actually, so MC2 was started as something that uh, after we had a convening in Greece for our Obama Foundation, and soon after there was this whole wildfire because of the heat wave that happened about 2 years ago. Crazy stuff, and so houses were burned, properties were lost, lives and everything else. And some of the friends I had made in Greece were texting and telling me about all these things that were happening back in their homes, and it was so bad. So I came back to Kenya, told one of my friends, this thing happened, it was so bad. And then we figured out, what if we made an AI system that warned them to move before these wildfires hit their homes, and that means they would have saved lives and property and so on. So we started making that, started designing an AI system to as an early warning system for wildfires. But then we realized that Kenya is located at the equator. We don't tend to have like highs or extreme lows of heat waves. So we figured, what if we also made it to tell deforestation in addition to wildfires, because we have big problems of deforestation in our forests. And yeah, that's what we made. So at MC2, we now use AI as early warning to detect deforestation and wildfires and charcoal burning, and yeah,
Which is a
basically trying
big
to.
topic in Africa, actually. I
Mm,
know that Congo as well
yes,
has strong
yes,
issues regarding deforestation and the process of
yes,
deforestation.
yes.
Okay,
Yeah. So
great.
the goal is, if we can use modern systems of AI to predict this and to as an early warning for this, and basically maybe that can help reduce biodiversity loss. And also, and I love it because the European Union, I think last year they passed this law that for them to import anything that comes from anywhere in the world, farmers need to prove that they didn't plant whatever it is from deforested land, and they didn't have to cut down trees to, whether it's coffee or crops or whatever it is that's being imported to EU. So there's this deforestation act that was passed, and that's really good because that means that there's a bit of enforcement and goodwill coming from the consumer side to show that they are also not supporting deforestation, and that's a really good thing.
And about Afroclimate, is it something that, according to you, resonates well today?
Yes, yes. So Afroclimate, we are empowering African entrepreneurs that are working on the climate space. So we work together with startups, individuals, community-based organizations, and so on. Just people who are working into the climate sector across Africa. So, for example, a really cool, interesting project we did was in Nigeria, where they have a lot of problems with rural communities have big problems when it comes to getting clean cooking energy, and that's something that's because it's expensive one, and it's not something that's readily available for everyone. So they end up cutting trees illegally, deforestation, and even sends climbs up the metrics when it comes to things like energy poverty, which is a big thing. So we started working with this startup that is doing work on biochar and clean cooking stoves, so that we can bring down the cost of cooking for them, and we can help these communities clean, have better quality of food when they're cooking, because the type of energy used also determines the quality of food. And also, air, you have when you use firewood and charcoal, it brings smoke, and that brings the air quality, brings problems to people when they're breathing. And that's one of the projects we're doing. And so it's basically trying to empower such entrepreneurs to scale up their efforts through access to funding, communication, media visibility, working with universities and so on, just so that we can help them grow their ventures.
Very interesting. Sounds you are very busy. Huh? Do you have time to sleep?
Sometimes yes. Yeah, but then we have a good team, and we have a lot of people who are supporting us on a lot of fronts, and shout
Yeah,
outs
you
to all these
created an
people.
ecosystem with you. Yeah.
Yes.
You were recognized by the United Nations as a young champion of the Earth. Did
Yeah,
that award change your relationship with responsibility, voice, and leadership?
a lot. Oh my god. Yes. It's been an amazing. It's one of the most amazing things that can happen to anyone, and I wish there was a way that we could get that happening to like a lot of people. It opened up a lot of access to funding, actually, like almost immediately. Um, and then we got to like inspire whole lots of people across the world, people who are now doing a lot of crazy things. So the young champion of the earth was given to myself and two other ladies, one in the US. Her name is Noemi. She's working on water systems, making water clean for human consumption. And also from India, we have another colleague who was also given an award because of the work she's doing on Banoffee, of turning banana waste into leather bags and leather products, which is some really amazing ventures that are also getting to scale and are also getting to benefit local communities and local people. And this just shows you so much potential that young people across the world,
Yeah.
different places, have to change norms, or what will have been considered as regular normal stuff when it comes to climate, when it comes to access to development stuff, and so on. Yeah.
It gives room for maneuver. Clearly,
Mm.
this opportunity. So I assume that thanks to all this world you created, you have today the possibility to spread your spirits in many areas. In this podcast, we talk a lot of freedom also. Broadly speaking, what does freedom mean to you today, Joseph, professionally, culturally, and personally? What is freedom for you?
Oh, okay. Freedom to me is being able to wake up in the morning, go ahead with my business, and not having been stopped or spied or intimidated by doing what I feel like is right to do, as long as I'm not affecting another person's rights and responsibilities and their living conditions. And the fact that you can actually live without um, being scared of your life ending any moment because of something that you didn't do to anyone else. I think that's freedom.
So, no barriers, basically. In your
Mm.
experience, what is the biggest barrier young innovators face today?
So it changes per context and changes per the work being done. Um, I'll I'll give you the biggest barrier to young people and creating change. So one is the funding part. You have people who across the world in several areas that are willing to fund you when you are at prototype step and ideation stage. In a lot of instances, you have like so much funding going into that, and then you don't, and then the funding cycle dies down in what we call the valley of death. When it comes to after you've done your first prototypes and first MVPs, you don't have a lot of people who are willing to fund that, to grow that venture, to make it scale and all that. And then all of a sudden money appears again when it's a big startup and when it's a big company and so on. And so navigating that hurdle is usually problematic to young people, because most of young people are fresh out of school, fresh out of universities, trying to make their name out there and trying to figure out life and everything. And when you bring a barrier of financing to them, then it becomes so problematic. To people who are working on things like healthcare and such kind of scenarios, then it becomes also problematic for them to get licenses, certifications, and so on, because this go to like big corporate farmers and big companies and so on. And it makes life harder for you if you're trying to get into that industry. Um, so, and then in other industries, you get a lot of gatekeeping. There's a lot of information that doesn't get out there, doesn't get published, and doesn't get all that, and problematic to just start something in that industry. These are some of the barriers that I think are facing young people, and I think we can actually do some things and actually change them if we are open to supporting other young people. Because the thing is, young people are the majority currently globally, people who are maybe 40, 35 and under. And if we're open to supporting each other and not taking advantage of each other people and so on, I think that's how we can grow also ourselves and other people. Also, you realize that wealth distribution is not spread equally among people of different ages. So the older people are much richer than younger people, and it's a struggle. Basic things like even housing, getting food, access to quality education it becomes even a luxury to afford rent to a lot of people, and this shouldn't be the case. So I think there's a lot that needs to be done in a lot of sectors, and so government should help, private sector should help, and also there should be a lot of public goodwill to try and just make life easier for young people.
Yes, that's interesting because on my side, I'm doing a training actually about leadership, and it highlights the triathlete sector theory that consists in saying that you have several pillars in society that need to be combined in order to create the change. So you have, as you
Mm,
said, the public sector, the personal initiatives, the government. So clearly, yes, sounds bad. It's the collective force that is going
yes.
to change the status of the world, and not something made by someone alone.
Mm,
Yeah,
you're right. Yes.
collaboration is very important. You are an engineer.
Collaboration is
In
king.
term,
Yeah.
yeah, it's key. It's key, and I invite also people to watch on YouTube and to listen the episode 4 we did with a pastry chef, Johanna Lepap. She talks at the end about the importance of collaboration, and she says that the next era is the era of collaboration if we want to change the
Mm,
world. So yeah,
yes.
yeah, yeah, completely agree. You are an engineer. In terms of inspiration, who are the scientists, engineers, or activists who inspire you the most? Is there someone very important for you?
Um, yeah. Akio Murata. He's the founder of Sony, and I think he's uh, one of the people who are really inspiring. Walt Disney, the
Okay.
founder of Disney,
Hmm.
and Edwin Land of Polaroid. I love those
Okay.
three
And
people a
why?
lot. So Edwin Land, first because he's the guy who made cameras what they are today, and him being able to actually talk about the phone about 100 years before the phone was made, and that makes it interesting. Walt Disney, he shifted the imaginations and whatever was possible, and then he created all these Disney theme parks that have consistently defied the rules of science and imagination, and being able to create things that are so good that the whole world loves them. And uh, Akio Morita Sony, and he literally helped the whole country's economy to go up after World War II, and
Hmm.
him being able to make Sony into what it is, and changing the rules of videography, motion videos, and all that kind of stuff. I think they're quite inspiring in their own fields. And of course, people like Steve Jobs. Yeah, but these ones came before, that's why I like them a lot.
Okay. About the movement, the transformation. So you also lead initiatives like Adopt a River.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, can you comment it?
Yeah, so we've been doing a project called Adopt a River, which is really fun. One of the most fun things I've been able to do. So the thing is, we go to this particular or this setting that has a community next to a river and the river is polluted, then we try to talk to these community members and the children and the old people, the adults, and everyone. We try to tell them a little bit about why it is important to conserve the environment and not pollute rivers, because rivers are like the bloodstreams of the planet and of the world and so on. And then after we talk to them and all that, we then engage them in a short 1 hour, 2 hour river cleanup process of a section of a river that flows beside their community. And then we ask them to stay like as the watch guards and not try to pollute the planet. And if anyone tries to pollute that water, they should talk to them as well, and so on. So we try bringing this river conservation to community-led action and try to make people feel responsible and own up the initiative of maintaining the cleanliness of that place. We've been doing that for quite some time until the government took over like a whole river cleanup project, and now it's the government is kind of trying to do it, so we kind of let it go on with them.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to talk about your continent right now,
Mm.
Africa. You often say that Africa's problems can be solved by Africans. Um, was it difficult to claim that vision, especially in a global system dominated by Western models?
Yes and no. So one is that they can be solved by Africans. Two is that it's not necessarily going to be solved by Africans. And both are true because of the same reasons. So one, for example, we, as we mentioned previously, collaboration is the key to everything, right? Whatever we get, whatever we make, whatever we sell from Africa is actually sold abroad, other places. Our coffee, it's probably what you're drinking today, and the tea from Kenya, the coffee from Ethiopia, the the cocoa from Ghana, that's what makes chocolate and so on. And we need to sell this to the rest of the world, yes. But we also need to import things from the rest of the world, right? We have automotive that are made from Japan that are here. We have things that are made from Germany here. We have things that are come from the US here. Chinese things are also sold here. So the world is a global village in terms of what we need to sell and buy, and trade is what actually builds that up. Africa's problems that can be solved and should be solved by Africans are number one, corruption, because that's the
Mm.
big thing that is actually uh, being problematic. And when it comes to corruption, that is what we can solve ourselves as Africa, and that is by us electing good leaders and by our leaders stepping up and styling up and becoming good quality of leaders that can then be responsible to the population and the electorate who are serving them. I'll give you an example. Right now, one of the problems, I don't know if you've heard of the migration of wild beasts that happens to be a wonder of the world. So we have these wild beasts that come and cross over from Tanzania to Kenya every year, and they go back to Tanzania and then they come back, and it's the eighth wonder of the world. And the reason why it's such a big thing is because these wild beasts, on the Tanzanian side, they get being chased by lions, and they come over to this river called the Mara River. And the Mara River uh, it has a lot, and it's the world's most dangerous river because of the crocodiles and the hippos that are there. So these wild beasts have to cross over this river that has the crocodiles and the wild beasts, have to cross to the other side, that are then going to be chased away by cheetahs or eaten, and then they go further away that they're going to be safe. So it's a really dramatic thing, a really interesting and fascinating thing to see. But then our leaders become corrupt, and then they sell part of the portion that this wildebeest pass over. They sell this portion of land to hotels, and these hotels then put up these barricades that then block the wildebeest migration, which is a really bad thing because it's it's a it's a huge thing for these animals to cross, and the world loves to see them cross because they need to cross, and uh, so that is being corrupt literally. And then these are things that we can solve as Africa, and we should solve.
Okay. And how to solve it?
One, elect good leaders, uh, which we should. to remove bad leaders, not to bring them in again when they go to protest. Also, because we also talked about freedom, there's a huge kind of quote unquote awakening among young people who are resisting bad leadership. And we've seen that it's the rise of the Gen Z. Media calls it protests. Um, so it's what we call the Gen Z uprising that is happening. We've seen that in Kenya, we've seen that in Tanzania, we've seen that in Bangladesh, we've seen that in Nepal, we've seen that in basically countries that leaders are out of tune with the reality and are not listening to young people. And young people are now becoming more than just kind of activists. We know what is good for us. You asked previously what kind of problems that young people are facing, and we said some of them that's something that governments should be able to work on and should be able to solve. And now in this scenario, then young people, we know what governments should be doing, and if they don't do that, then we style up and we go to protest. We tell them, we're not comfortable with what you guys are doing about this. So that's the other thing. And then the other thing that also young people can do and how to solve this is people like me, people like you, starting your own initiative, starting my own initiative, helping other people start their own initiative, spotlighting them, supporting them, and until we get to a point where we can change our own, uh, fields and shout loud enough so that attention comes our way and we can shine the light to other people.
Regarding, thank you, very interesting. Regarding politics, is very dynamic in your country. Regarding parties supported by young people, I gave you an example. In France, you have the main political
Mm,
parties, but you have also like subsidiaries that consist in having like the young movement, the young
mm,
incarnation of the party in question. So it helps also young people to advocate and to develop the spirit for changing later on the global dynamic. Do you have this culture in Kenya?
I think we do have that. Mostly, I think every political party has that. Most of them will have that. But the thing is, most of these are used to whitewash the population and just to try and show what the governments or political parties are trying to do or are not trying to do. But the thing is, more can be done and more should be done, and we expect nothing less.
Okay.
Yeah.
It rings a bell because I had a question for you, but you answered almost, but maybe something to complete. One question, which is a mystery for me, to be frank, even if you gave some information that
Mm.
helped to reply, but for me, Africa is a mystery a bit because
Yeah.
it's a country where you have lots of resources, you
Mm.
have brains, uh,
Mm.
you have big cities. It's a wonderful continent, by the way, so it can be attractive on several aspects. So when I look at Africa, maybe without developing it in terms of ideas, but when I look at your continent, I think, my God, this continent can't be still in this century in situations of poverty, for instance, high
Yeah.
poverty. You mentioned the corruption issue, but do you think that there is also, I don't know, for instance, a domination from Western countries against Africa that doesn't allow Africa to liberate itself in order to grow? What is for you beyond the corruption? The big issue that explains that this wonderful continent, for many reasons, um, can't experience the good aspects of developments. And when I say good aspects, I talk about humanity, health, economic development, and stop
Mm.
with famine.
Yeah. Yeah. So two things about that, right? So one is, it's rightly pointed out, there is the Western influence, which sometimes works for and sometimes works against Africa. And then number two, there is the internal things that for bad leadership and so on. So I'll give you context. So Africa, 1.4 billion people, median age 19 years. So your typical African currently is 19 years. And most of these people are now current population, people who've gone to schools. They have basic knowledge of either French or English or Portuguese. They can speak that fluently. And they know technology, they're good at it. I'll give you an example. ChatGPT was trained by Kenyans, and most of Facebook is actually moderated by Africans. And this gives you a perspective of young people trying to come up and trying to be more proactive. But then again, you have the things like what's happening in Congo and what's happening in Sudan, things that are actually driven by external forces, the more developed countries. Uh, which goes both ways, right? There are things that governments and local what do you say? Local enforcements, local governments, and public pressure should do to change things. There are things that also I think the world is failing Africa and not being so good to Africans. But right now we are seeing a radical shift that's happening. So we have the Western influence of what would have normally been Europe plus the US. And also, we are now having a lot of influence that's coming in from the eastern part of the world, such as China and Russia. And both of these forces are now trying to dominate Africa. What I love about this is that now, if the Western countries start bullying Africans, Africans are now running towards the Eastern countries. And if the Eastern countries start bullying Africans, they're now running to the Western countries. So it's a really interesting playground to look at.
Great.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for this reply. Joseph, I didn't tell you all about this episode. I have another guest with you.
Oh, wow.
Um, Another person is going to join beyond our listeners, our followers, and
Okay.
please join the Courant Alternatif podcast because we have many things to highlight. I have another guest today.
Okay. Whoa.
I show his book.
Yeah.
So it's the book
Oh,
of
yeah.
Barack Obama, A Promised Land,
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
memories.
yeah. Promised Land, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Thanks for this brick, cultural brick, Mr. Obama.
Yeah,
So
that's one of the best books that he's written so far. Yeah.
yeah, it's a, of course, very inspiring one.
Yeah.
It is sophisticated in some ways, but also very accessible. And
Mm.
frankly, it's a very nice creation, and I invite people who didn't read it to discover these memories that highlight many things. Of course, it is so rich, but hope clearly
Yeah.
is something we can have in our mind after reading. It's not the first time that Barack comes in Courant Alternative because in the first episode he was part of the first clue for our guest Magda Danis because
Yeah.
she's a she is a gallerist trying to and doing it well to highlight street artists and to spread the street art spirit across the world. And she worked a lot with the American street artist and activist Shepard Fairey, who did the Obama poster in 2008 as part
Wow.
of his campaign. So it's not the first time I show Mr. Obama in this podcast. So,
He's
what?
really cool in person. He's really,
Ah,
really cool in person.
you met him?
A couple of times, yes. He's really
Okay.
cool.
And how is it to meet such a personality?
Uh, so first, of course, they have a lot of security. Uh, but then they're really like cool in person. So after like there are no cameras and there are no all these security people and everything else, and just like a small family and like intimate and all that. And then you get to know like the other side that not you don't get to see on TV, and you get to realize that beneath all this, they're just humans, and they're people like you and me. They have emotions just like you and me. They like good things in life as well. They are really approachable, really kind, I think, and that's who they are in person. And but then and then they have to step out into the limelight and the lights, cameras, and everything else, and then they have to act all grown up, all mature, all that wise. Yeah, but
Did he give you an advice, as you are also a member of his foundation?
yeah, yeah, a lot. A lot.
Do you have one in
I'll give
mind
you. I'll give
you
you a
want to
quote.
share?
Yes, 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 yes. So there's one that says, "You don't ask, you don't get." Um, and the
Interesting.
thing is, so if you want something in life, the reasoning was so there's a story behind it, but the reasoning was go for it. Be willing to ask someone out. Be willing to ask for what you want in life, because if you don't ask, the thing is that you won't get. There are 100% chances that you won't get it if you don't ask. So that was the reasoning behind it. So you don't ask, don't get.
Okay, interesting. What is the purpose of your commitment in this foundation today?
Sorry, my purpose for.
What is the purpose of your commitment in the Obama Leaders Program for Africa?
Oh, okay. Yeah. So the leaders program, I should maybe expound on it. Um, so every year, the foundation invites applicants from around the world. You have around 30 or so from Africa, from Europe, from the US, and then uh, Asia Pacific. And these people are leaders in their own field. So gender, education, healthcare, human rights, democracy, different kinds of fields, right? Climate, tech, and so on. And they're put together as community in different from different places around the world. And basically, what you have is a top tier of people who are doing different things, even journalists, and they get to help each other out, discuss what they're having as things going on in their different industries in their different fields, and you can have this community that you can always look up to, you can always talk to, you can always invite to help you out, sort out whatever things you're having. And the thing is, the distribution is pretty wide, right? They're in almost every country on earth. So that means anywhere you go to, anywhere on earth, you always have like a brother or a sister you can call, and you can like, hey man, I'm stranded here, I'm trying to figure this out, or I want to do this, do you know anyone who can help me, or something like that. And that helps you like get access to like a lot of areas. So and actually the applications for the Obama Foundation are currently on. I will highly advise anyone who's watching this right now, if they can apply. It's really really uh, you have my whole recommendation to please go for it all the way. It's an amazing platform. And also there is the scholars program, which is for people who are into academics, and they'll sponsor you to study at a university in the US, and you also get to meet other scholars in the same university or other universities who are also under the same program, and are also brilliant, exceedingly amazing people, and you get to work with them, get to study with them. There is the Voyagers program that's also being done together with Brian Chesky of Airbnb, together with the Obama Foundation. And Chesky is another amazing person you should actually meet. So Airbnb, Brian Chesky and President Barack Obama with the foundation, they have the Voyager program where young people get to travel the world and get to meet other young, interesting people, get to do some project somewhere in the planet, and then they for like 2 3 years and something, and then they're followed on reporting and all that, and it's an amazing thing. You have the uh, girls organization that's led by Michelle Obama, and it's a really amazing thing that you get to, yeah, that's Girls and Women, Girls Opportunity Alliance, that's the name, that they get to do projects that impact people across the world, mostly women and girls, and it's such an amazing thing.
I am impressed by the all the facets. There are a lot as part of this foundation. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
I have a question for you.
yeah.
It is in the chapter 4 of Obama's memories.
Yeah.
uh, Barack Obama wrote something about destiny. So I'm going to read it, and I will allow you to react about that. He
Okay.
wrote, "The truth is, I've never been a big believer in destiny. I worry that it encourages resignation in the down and out and complacency among the powerful. I suspect that God's plan, whatever it is, works on a scale too large to admit our mortal tribulations. That in a single lifetime, accidents and happenstance determine more than we care to admit, and that the best we can do is to try to align ourselves with what we feel is right and construct some meaning out of our confusion, and with grace and nerve play at each moment the end that were dealt." And you, Joseph, do you
Hmm.
believe in destiny, or you just play with the cards in your hand?
Interesting. Um, I actually do believe in destiny. I actually do. And I think destiny can also be altered. That's the thing. So I believe in destiny and I believe that destiny can be altered. So if we if we did everything right, right, for example, we tried to limit emissions, we tried to do this and this and this, we can be sure that the humanity is not doomed, and that's some sort of destiny, right? Um, if you look at any great founders of the past or any people who've created anything to bring it to life, yes, they believe in destiny, but they're also uh, stubborn enough to be curious enough and disrupt that destiny into whatever and mold it into whatever you want it. I think for that one, I'll go with what Steve Jobs once said. If you want something in your life and you pursue it and go after it with all everything that you have, somehow the world will try to mold itself to bend to your will and to give you what you actually want. I think that's really strong and that's powerful. So, destiny, yes, I believe in it, but also I strongly believe in uh, things are going to work out the way you try and push them to work out.
Thanks for those words. Two questions to finish, Joseph. I like to do sometimes bridges between guests, and
Hmm.
as I said, I mentioned Magda Danis, who is very involved in street art.
Yep.
Um, Climate is increasingly political.
Mm.
Recently, the street artist Banksy created a piece on the Royal Courts of Justice in London, which was
Wow.
removed almost immediately. Do you think that we should provoke institutions also to create the conditions for changing?
Yeah, you actually mentioned something really interesting. So, because it's true, um, climate is political a lot. And the thing is, we can never, all of us, agree on climate change, whether being real or being not real. That's the thing. There are always people who are going to be on either side every time. But then, here are things we can start agreeing on. So, we can start agreeing on let's get common ground, right? So, people are dying because of heat waves. That's true. That's a fact. We've seen that. We've lived through that. All of us probably have seen it on TV. Uh, we've seen people not having access to clean water because of water sources running dry. That's a fact. We've seen people dying of drought and hunger. That's a thing. We've seen wildfires happening because of temperatures. That's another fact that we've seen. So if now we've seen this, now let's talk about solutions. Then how do we do it? Because it's much easier to address something that we can relate to than giving it an abstract feeling that we cannot, all of us, identify with. So if we said now that let's get to the table, you have President Trump who says that climate change is a hoax. It's okay, that's fine. Then you say that, but then let's agree on that thing. The thing is that people are dying of hunger, right? So how do we help solve this? How do we create initiatives that are going to help solve this? And actually, by doing this initiative, then that means we are doing something to actually address climate change. Um, we can agree that people are getting diseases and sicknesses and illnesses that are conduced because of air quality going down and going bad. So what do we do about it? You know, we can start from that angle, and then you can now have institutions that are now mandating other institutions or other players that are around them to, take care of your emissions. Probably drive electric vehicles or something like that. And then that means that we are now getting actually on the same page. So it's much easier for me to ask you to have electric vehicles because of the type of air that you're breathing than for me to tell you to drive electric vehicles because of the planet. Not everybody cares about polar bears. So the poster child for climate change, I think, should be more on the impact on humanity, because that's something that we can then get organizations, individuals, governments, and everybody on the same page than exactly on polar bears. Mind you, I'm not saying polar bears are not important or they shouldn't be dying or anything. I'm just saying that it's more like you're more likely to convince people based on what they can relate to than on something that they cannot exactly fathom.
Thank you for highlighting this. Joseph, we are close to the end of this podcast. Was
Oh
so
God,
nice
yeah.
to invite you. I have a last question.
Okay.
Uh, if you could pass on one message to people who want to think and act differently, what would it be?
Huh. Wow. So one, be curious. Uh, Number two, be open to change. And number three, collaborate and connect. The world runs on relationships. The world is fueled by curiosity. And the moment you have these two together, then you have a spark that then you can make whatever you want.
And we like yours. Thank you,
Thank you
thank you
so
so
much.
much, Joseph. Was really an honor to invite you, and
Thank you so
I
much.
really hope that you will continue to bring hope to people in Africa and across the world.
Hope so as well. Thank you so much
See
for
you very
having me.
soon, man.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.